Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today we have got Art joining us from Idaho. Art is an entrepreneur. He got started with the program a few months ago, and he's kindly agreed to come on the channel today to share his story, inspire you guys. And yeah, welcome, Art. Thanks so much for being here.
Appreciate you having me. Thanks.
And how long have you not drank for now, Art?
It's been close to 6 months.
That is beautiful, man. So, and then when's the last time you went 6 months without drinking?
Since I was 21 years old.
How old are you now?
54.
Sorry, should I ask that? Yeah, that's all good. 54. Awesome, man. Love it. Beautiful. So, yeah. What do you want to explain like a little bit about what life was like before you got started with the program, what the drinking was like, and all of that stuff?
Yeah, I was pretty much a functional drinker. Although I drink to get drunk. At least I started to drink for those reasons. It seemed to be getting worse and worse as time went on, and my relationship with my wife was getting worse and worse as time went on. Same with, I got two young daughters, a 6-year-old and a 10-year-old, and they were starting to notice, and I believe they were noticing the relationship dwindle as well. So it got to where it was affecting my personal life. And basically I actually injured my leg and went over to, my wife was actually out of town that night. I went over to a buddy's house that I had just met. Actually, he's a dirt bike rider. That's one of my hobbies. And we were both picking up our dogs from dog daycare. And I had to go get an MRI on my leg after my injury. And I picked up my dog and I noticed he had a dirt bike tattoo, and asked him if he still rides. He did. And we started talking, and our dogs were playing together. And he says, "Hey, why don't you come over and have a beer and let's let the dogs play." So I agreed to do so, and went over to his house, and one beer led into two, probably two led into about six, and got to be about 11 o'clock at night, and he needed to go to bed, and I went to leave, and his house is separated from his garage, and we were in his garage drinking, and the door closed. I went to the truck and put the dog in, and realized I left my cell phone on the counter of his garage, and he has this pretty heavily gated fence that separates his house from the garage, and there was no way to get to him. So I just moved to Idaho from California about 2 years prior to that, and my business is still in California, so I travel back there every other week. So really, I've only been in Idaho for about a year, because half my time spent in California, and I don't know Idaho that well. So when I left his house, I'd followed him there, and I really didn't know my way out of there. I got lost and not having my GPS on my phone, and got a little confused, and was driving around pretty heavily buzzed. I should just say drunk, and trying to find my way home, and got pretty disoriented by the time I realized where I was at, and looking for signs. I guess I was doing a little swerving to find my way around, and I was in Idaho. They don't mess around. I was doing 6 miles an hour over the speed limit, and next thing I know, I got red flashing lights behind me. And cop pulled me over and asked, if I'd been drinking, and I told him, yeah, I was at a buddy's house and we'd had a few. So he proceeded to ask me to get out of the truck to do a DUI test. I told him I just tore my meniscus and my MCL in my leg. I'm not sure how good I could do, and I had actually the MRI results, or at least showing that I did an MRI that day. So I showed him that paperwork. So he basically made me do a sobriety test without doing any of the walking or anything where I had to use my legs. So he basically followed my eyes and made me do a couple of counting things, and basically determined I was drunk, which I was, and hauled me in. When we got to the police station, I for some reason was thinking to myself, I was probably just borderline drunk, and they wanted to do the breathalyzer test. I refused to do it, thinking I would buy a little bit of time, which I did. I probably bought about 45 minutes before the fire department came there and went to basically take my blood. They took my blood, and because of my refusal, he told me I was going to lose my license for a year. I thought to myself, I'll hire a lawyer. I'll deal with that aspect later, but hopefully now my blood alcohol's under the limit. My plan didn't work out so well. I basically got my results back, and I found out I was 0.2, and it's 0.08 here in the state of Idaho. So I was double the alcohol limit, and definitely shouldn't have been driving my truck. And that's actually an automatic suspension as well. So I had a civil suit because of my refusal, and also a criminal suit because of my driving double the amount of alcohol over the limit. And it was at that point I knew I needed to basically take care of my problem, my issue, which was my problem, which happened to be alcohol. So I had a chance to call my wife that night at the police station. I thought, if I do this, we're already on the outs. This is going to be the end of it. She's with family, and I didn't want to basically tell her because she's with her family. I didn't want to present it that way, but come the next day, I knew I had to. So I basically bailed myself out of jail. They let me post bond. I got a taxi, came home. My dog was with me. He actually went to dog jail too that night. And so I had to go pick up my dog. Didn't know how I was going to do it. I basically talked to my neighbor, and he said he would, take me down to get my dog. And so we went and bailed him out. Went over to I went and got my truck and got it out of impound. So, I'm probably about $800, $900 deep by this time. And actually more than that, 500 to bomb myself out, a couple more $100 to get my truck out of impound. Then my dog cost me a couple $100 to get him out. So yeah, I'm $800 deep now, and I'm just starting to face the wrath of my problem. And at that point, I knew I was going to have a lawyer to hire to try to fight my way out of this, which I did. And it just, the numbers kept increasing. And at that point, I said, I got way too much to lose. I got an awesome family. I got an awesome house. I got, awesome business. And I was starting to neglect my business as well. And so I said, I got to focus on my problem, and then I can focus on everything else. So I started looking online at different things. I'd already tried AA, and every time I went to AA, I felt like, I don't know, it wasn't for me. I felt like the people that were in there were way beyond where I was at, which I shouldn't be judging people like that, but that's the way I felt. And at that point, I was like, I got to look at something that'll work. So started doing YouTube videos on other people who were looking for the same answers for sobriety. And lo and behold, Soberclear kept popping up, and I kept clicking on Leon's Soberclear videos. And the more I listened to each one, the more I felt like, yeah, this is for me. So I ended up getting a hold of Leon. He basically outlined what the plan was all about and how to go about it. So at that point, I said to myself, yeah, it's time to pull the trigger on this and take care of myself. And so I did. I was probably, I forget how many of the first set of modules were, but I think I was a couple modules in, and I'd already convinced myself that this is already working. And the way he now looks at alcohol was the way I was it was becoming clear to me that this is the way I should be looking at alcohol, and so it all started falling into place. He brought up, there were a few things in the program that really stood out to me, and that was that it was a societal thing that, it seems like society pushes this in our face. And also the other aspect was that basically the toxicity of alcohol itself is that no one talks about it, but you're basically drinking a poison. And when he brings up the ethanol factor, and I used to do hazardous waste and such, really hit home. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to plug you in, Leon. So I'm gonna have to go to another spot. My computer's starting to die on me.
No problems. So yeah, for you, it was like you were functional, but the alcohol was starting to cause problems, and the relationship with your wife was getting worse. The daughters were noticing, personal life was being affected, work was being affected, but you weren't really motivated to change until there was this big, catastrophic event with the DUI. And but then, it is what it is. That kind of motivated you to start looking for a solution. That's a cool background now. Look at that. And but yeah, then that kind of motivated you to change. And then researching the program, found the program, boom, smashed through it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it in a nutshell. So I went through the whole program, got into a couple of the meetings that Leon puts on, and talked to a few of the other individuals that were in the program. By this time, it was obviously clear to me that the program had already worked. It had already sunk into my head. It became very clear to me that alcohol, there's nothing that good comes from alcohol. That's one of Leon's courses, tell me what good comes from alcohol. And one of the things that, he said, you basically, it makes me relax. Well, what were you doing when you realized that? Well, I was sitting on the couch already relaxing. I just felt like I needed to have a beer in my hand to complete the relaxation. So, it always, by the time I was getting to these types of sessions, it had already sunk in. I was already bought into the program, and I was already basically over alcohol. And now I go out and I'm with friends, and alcohol's flowing around me everywhere. And I've been tested so many times, and it just seems like it's easy to not need it. And I still have a great time with my friends. One of my friends that I used to stay with him when I went back to San Jose to do my business, and he's pretty much an alcoholic, and he drinks every day from pretty much sun up to sundown. Coronas. I was going a little stronger than that. I would drink IPAs and vodka. It was my choice, so it affects me probably a lot harder than it does him. But anyway, I realize it's not good to be around somebody that's constantly drunk, and it actually, when you're around somebody that's constantly drunk, it starts wearing on you. Like it's like, I want to fix the guy. I've showed him the program, but he has no will to want to do it. And that's one of the things you have to understand too. If you got to want to do this, or the program's never going to work. Unfortunately for me, I had to learn the hard way to want to do this. And I wished I would have found Leon prior to my DUI, but here I am 6 months later. I can't drive. My wife's driving me everywhere. I go to luckily one of my friends moved to Idaho that lives in California, or that works in California as well. So he's able to pick me up most of the time and haul me to the airport. But I've now got a Lyft driver that I use quite a bit, and she hauls me back and forth and gets me around. So I'm finding ways to deal with the license part of it, not being able to drive. But the rest of my life has come up leaps and bounds. My business has grown quite a bit since I started the program. I've got a lot of focus. I think I've added 5 or 6 new people into the business.
Nice.
I've prioritized my business. I've prioritized my family. My family is, I should have mentioned that first. That's grown leaps and bounds. We're finding ourselves again. And my wife, she really is proud of what I've done. And we were on the outs. Prior to her leaving for her parents, she was talking about how we do the separation. So
unreal, man.
So I still think we have things we need to work on in our relationship, but we're, at least she's willing to work on them now. Before it was like, that's it, I'm done. We need to move on. And how do we split the sheets, so to speak? So anyway, that's all good. We attend church every weekend now, and I'm finding my way with God. And so my spiritual side of things has really grown as well. So between my commitment to not drink alcohol, my faith in God, and the willingness for my wife to work things out with me, life's really, really transpired. And I'm really enjoying sobriety. It's like I said, it's easy not to even to want to go back to it. And as mentioned, I've been tested many times, so I feel like I'm, tried and true now, and just look forward to what life's got to bring me. And to be honest, I'll remember it now. Before, I used to be drunk and hazed, and there are a lot of things I wouldn't even remember. My wife would tell me, "Do you remember what you said last night or what you did last night?" And I'd say, "No, what was it?" And then she'd tell me, and it would start to come back into my head. Oh yeah, I do kind of remember that. But any of those moments anymore. And clarity is it's a gift from God. And when you basically introduce substances into your body, it could be many different substances, but alcohol was the one that really was destroying me. So that's the one I'm talking about right now. But I'm trying to live pure, trying to live clean, and I'm enjoying every aspect of it.
Man, it's the full turnaround. Every area has just gone. Vroom. It's awesome.
It has been a steep uphill climb since sobriety.
So one more question, Art, is what's one piece of advice that you'd give to somebody that's thinking about joining the program?
If you feel like if you are abusing alcohol, or even if you're not abusing alcohol, but you want to quit, do it before you get in trouble. Do it before you ruin your relationship. Do it before you affect yourself health-wise. Do it, do it early, and don't wait. Don't think that you're doing it to a small amount, and your body's able to recover, or your wife will look the other way, and it doesn't bother her, or that you're not obedient to God, because you're actually affecting all three of those areas. So do it early. If you feel like you're on that path, and you can't. Well, I don't even say that you can't control it. I just say don't drink alcohol. As Leon's told you, it's a toxic substance, and society's made it appear to be something that benefits us. It doesn't benefit you or I or anyone else in any way. So just look at it from that standpoint, that there's no benefit that comes from alcohol, and to take control of it. And if you need help, then for me, Soberclear was the way that helped me see the light of sobriety, and I was able to do the program, understand it, and build upon it. So that's what I would say.
Man, awesome. And if you want to leave Art a comment, just leave him a comment. I'll send him this video so he'll be able to read them. And yeah, thank you so much, Art.
Thanks for having me, Leon. Thanks for all you've done. Really appreciate your program. It's changed my life and my perspective on life. And it's been nothing but love and gratitude for you, man. I appreciate it.
Awesome.